Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo. And we've got a lot of stuff on board for tonight. We got peace, we got war, we got SHTF, we've got gold, we've got oil, we've got, name it. It's all messed up. But it's Sunday Night Live. It is your show, and here we go. I've got a poll down here. I don't know if this is gonna make the show more interesting or not. I've got this question, another one. But folks, we've got a lot to talk about. Of course, as everyone knows, on the Prepared Mind channel is, it's not the thepreparedmind.com. Holy cow, I messed that all up. Bad John. See how easy it is? Okay. It is the preparedmind.club. I tell you, some days just got to beat myself with a stick. Anyways, all things prepping to be a premium channel member. Support the channel, and that is what Sunday Night Live is about, the zoo. We are going to get into it, folks, and it is not pretty. We've got a lot of trouble. So let's get rolling. I want to start by letting everyone know there's a super chat button right up there in the corner. That's how you get on the screen down here. And the reason we do that is to keep the lights on, pay for our subscriptions, pay for our servers, pay for our internet access, pay for everything. And you guys are guerrilla funding the channel since YouTube won't. In any event, let's have some fun. And I said hide. There we go. There's that poll again. I don't know how that works. We'll see if it works. Anyways, I've got a real head turner for you to start the show. Newt Gingrich, speaking about the Iran war, this is what he says. Quote, I am now convinced President Trump is on the edge of a historic victory. When they drag out Newt, folks, expect there to be a change of direction. But Trump doesn't get to unilaterally decide if we're going to have peace or not, right? The U.S. and Israel attacked Iran. Iran responded. It's been back and forth. And Iran has said conditions of peace are going to require a lot, not just Trump making up rules. And every time he tells them what to do, they just say, we don't have to do what you say. We don't have to follow your timeline. Nothing. But here's what Iran wants. And this is why Trump is in a bad place. Now, saying Trump is on the edge of a historic victory is, how do you declare victory when you haven't won? How do you declare victory if, as a condition of peace, Iran wants $300 billion to pay for the damage done to their country? They want their funds that are held in the World Bank or elsewhere unfrozen and returned to them. And they want to be able to sell their oil internationally without anyone interfering with their ships. So if Trump claims victory, it's a public relations stunt, and there really isn't peace. What Trump can do, though, is he can declare victory, leave the Middle East, send our Navy out of there, get our military out of there, and then Iran is just going to harass the rest of the world with the Strait of Hormuz. That's probably what he can do, and then claim victory. But yeah, Newt saying that Trump is on the edge of a historic victory. I wish it were true. I wish it were that easy, but it is not. Folks, we need to wake the world up to what's going on. Share that internet address at the top of the screen. That's how we do it. You can't rely on YouTube. You can't rely on social media to promote the message and get people to wake the hell up. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to wake up unless we tell them where to go to get the information they need. Now, let's see. What do we got here? Oh, yes. As a great example of how the show works, I'm gonna stop that poll. And 100% peace and war 0. Okay, well, there you go. And we're done with that poll. Silly poll. Let's continue. Super chat, $50. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Right out the gate from Darcy T, as she does every week. And that means any super chat of $50 or more is one 15-year single malt scotch. And this one is a 50-year PayPal from Darcy. And it's in the 250th anniversary Marine Corps shot glass, donated to the channel by none other than, well, Heritage Pewter, pewter.com, www.pewter.com. And they've got Army, Air Force, Marines. They might even have Coast Guard. Anyways, thank you, Darcy, and salute. Oh, God, it's like mother's milk. That's one. Woo! Well, it's the weekend. I've been doing, a little bit of day drinking. That's what we do in Florida. Just to relax and, just get some fresh air. But, it's hard to get fresh air when you got people throwing shit in it all the time. Anyways, Darcy had this to write. She said, my question for the zoo tonight. I ran across an article just today. It's very concerning. Buried in the House's version of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, released on Tuesday, is Section 224 entitled United States Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. Darcy writes, this provision would arguably do more to intertwine the U.S. military with the Israeli military than the more than $200 billion, that's inflation adjusted, in military assistance Israel has received from the United States since its founding in 1948. The article goes on to say that Section 224 would bring extraordinary Israeli influence to the U.S. beyond what it is already has through the Israeli lobby and its robust network of social media influencers. Now, Darcy, this is pretty important. Very important to note. Now we got another poll for you. Joe Kent, who was, I believe, the number 4 man in the CIA, is the one who said, I quit. And he has been posting in social media. He's the one that said Iran was never a threat. And it's calling out all the shit. He's also come out and said that at the Pentagon, and others have corroborated this, at the Pentagon, the Israeli military and Israeli, shall I say, influencers, they walk wherever they want in the Pentagon, and they storm into rooms where meetings are happening, and they make demands. I mean, never mind the fucking rudeness and the lack of all manner of good sense and decency. These people are not our military. They should not be in the Pentagon unless under special permission and guided in, and then immediately guided out as soon as whatever business they have is taken care of. They shouldn't be in there. It's our fucking Pentagon. Now, let's continue. And, oh, by the way, Chin Music said he's going to be showing up at some point here, and he always has some very fascinating things to say. In any event, folks, this Section 224, it made my head explode. And congressmen have already announced that they're planning on putting an amendment on the floor to remove Section 224. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is very important. Write your congressman, whoever they are, and tell them to remove Section 224 from the 2027 NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. We don't need Israel or its help in our country. They are not stalwart allies. They are killing women and children and civilians. They are bombing schools and hospitals and homes and public places. They've destroyed Gaza. They are now murdering Lebanese. They're bombing churches, mosques, hospitals, schools, and houses. They're occupying more than 20% of the country of Lebanon. A bigger chunk than Russia is supposedly occupying of Ukraine, even though those areas in Ukraine said they want to be a part of Russia, so it's no longer an occupation. Nobody in Lebanon said, hey, Israel, can you come up here and bomb us and shoot children in the head and kill women and torture them? Oh, and speaking of that, you know, I don't like left-wing fruitcake influencers and left-wing fruitcake protesters. I don't like them. They're annoying. You know, the Greta Thunbergs of the world, the left-wing crybabies, the save the whale fuckheads. I love a clean environment, by the way, but these people are nothing even remotely close to clean. Have you ever smelled a left-wing lunatic? Don't do it. Don't do it. But they did take a bunch of little civilian boats. They called it a flotilla. It's just a bunch of fucking boats. And they wanted to take supplies, food, to the people of Palestine in Gaza who are trapped and being held, and they're being killed at will by the Israelis. They want to take them food and supplies. So the Israeli government and military captured these people in their boats in international waters, arrested them, imprisoned them, and have tortured them and raped them and beat them, etc. And I'm going to give you one story from an Australian media person, a filmmaker, an Australian filmmaker. She said she was beaten and that she was sexually assaulted, that she was tied, had her pants and panties ripped off her, and someone stuck their hand in her. These people are fucking sick. Other people reported that they had guns, the barrels of weapons shoved in their orifices. They were violated with everything. This is the Israeli government, the Israeli military, the Israeli people, and that asshat Ben-Gvir, G-V-I-R, who has said we need to kill all Palestinians. And folks, it's not just the government. It's all the Talmudist Zionist people of Israel. It's awful. These people are fucked up. And now they're trying to get into our military, into our Pentagon, 100%, and try and make a permanent style connection where they get to, well, direct, lead, influence, coerce, lie to, cajole, bully the American military system. This is a worthless country, folks, that is full of genocidal, rapist, murdering fucks. And we don't need them in our Pentagon. So again, write your congressman and say, Section 224, get it the fuck out of there. We have enough trouble in our country with our freedom, our liberty, our rights, and our Constitution. We don't need any additional, shall we say, clouding of the law. We don't need any additional clouding. Certainly not. All right, folks, let's see. What are we going to do? We're going to get rid of this one. They're boring, silly thing. All right. Well, we've got 33% said document history and 67% said both. In other words, we want to do how-to prepping and history. Basically, same thing we've been doing. Terrific. I'll do it. Now, it's your show. Super chat button right up there. I'll get you on the screen. We'll make you famous. And that's really what I want, folks. We got a great crowd in here. It started up. We're at 200 people live. Share the internet address, folks. Share it. There's only one way to do this. There is a share button down below. And if you want to get on the screen, if you want to support the channel, then this is your chance. Sunday night is the zoo. It is the Prepared Mind at YouTube. The Prepared Mind at YouTube. Between those two channels, we have 85,000 subscribers. We have the preparedmind.club, our flagship website. We have Facebook, Instagram, BitChute. We have subscribestar.com, also another place to be a premium member and show up Monday through Friday. We're going to have some fun. I see Nancy. I see Christina, Earl. Oh, we got too many names to name. Too many names to name. Here we go. It's your show, folks. What do you want to talk about? Okay. Right out the gate. Well, we done Darcy. Now let's go to Viking checking in with a $20 super chat. And he has this to say about victory. Victory can only be achieved if the IRGC, that's the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, is defeated. This can be done by forming alliances with certain Gulf states because NATO certainly doesn't want to help. Viking, great topic. Let's get into it. Let's unbox it, unpack it. Let's think about it. Think about it. Now, let's start off with NATO. NATO wants to fight Russia, but they want someone else to do it other than NATO because all the European countries don't have any money to spend on a military. They haven't spent on their own military in freaking decades. Decades. NATO is a bunch of chicken shit cowards, but they want someone else to fight their fight for them. So right now, Voldemort Zelensky of Ukraine is sending every capable Ukrainian man and even the incapable. Yes, they round up, they kidnap, and they put everyone they can on the front line, including people who are Down syndrome, mentally retarded, the overly aged. Seeing gray-haired men with big gray beards, not your typical warrior, folks, not a 60, 70-year-old man. That's what they're doing. So, yeah, let's just get NATO out of the way and then say victory. How do we defeat the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC? Well, you say it can be done by forming alliances with certain Gulf states. Well, we had an alliance with Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain. We had bases down there already, naval bases and ports. We had land bases with airstrips, air bases. We had it. We had Iraq on the other side, but Biden gave it back to the Taliban, a bunch of backward-ass, goat-fucking screwballs who marry 9-year-old girls. Biden gave the whole country back to the Taliban. That's who we went in to defeat with our military. 15 fucking years of our men and women being harmed and killed. Our treasure, trillions of dollars spent for nothing. Oh, by the way, we're still sending billions of dollars to the Iraqis, a Taliban government that fucking hates us. They're sending that to them every month. Billions every month, folks. Billions every month. Billions every month. Unbelievable. Oh, wait a minute. The Taliban's in Afghanistan. I stand corrected. We have regular dumbasses that have taken over Iraq, and they hate America. They hate America, and they've done what they can to contribute on the side of Iran. This is interesting. So when you say certain Gulf states, I'm curious to know who you have in mind, because everyone over there is very upset that Iran is able to shoot missiles, drones, hypersonic missiles, their submarines, their fast ships, and their Navy is still out there. It's still operational. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. This is a fucked up situation. So I don't know who the certain Gulf states are you're thinking that could resolve our issues and help forge peace. Help forge peace. But I'd like to see it. I mean, we've got the Pakistanis helping. I think the Indians want to help, but they're not really, as far as I'm concerned, a very favorable ally. They're trying to help, and they haven't been any more good because, well, every time they try and have peace, guess what happens? A certain small country starts bombing Iran and others in an attempt to destroy any truce or ceasefire or efforts at making peace because they do not want peace. Israel, doesn't want peace. They want what is called the Greater Israel Project. That is, they want, let's just start from the southwest. Let's see, they want Egypt, they want Jordan, they want Syria, they want Lebanon, they want part of Saudi Arabia. I believe they want Oman. I think that they're definitely after southern Turkey and, Iran. So, yeah, they're not interested in peace. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Let us continue. There's lots to talk about. On the wagon, bro. Who's on the wagon? I guess we're all in the same wagon. We don't like what's going on. In any event, let us continue, shall we? Your show super chat button right up here, also in the description. We've got Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal links. So Venmo is the fastest. Cash App is also very fast. Let's get into some more stuff that's on my radar that I think is very important for where we're heading. Alberta. Does everyone know what Alberta is? Alberta is a province in Canada. Alberta is a province in Canada. Alberta has a lot of natural resources. Amongst them, and probably most important at this time, is oil. They have what are called oil sands. They're very rich oil fields, lots of it, and they're able to pump it out, lightly refine it, and clean it up, and then ship it down here to us cheap. Canada sells us oil cheap. It was supposed to come down to America through the Keystone Pipeline, which was set up during Trump, killed by Joe Biden, and I haven't heard shit about it since Trump came back. In any event, Alberta wants independence from Canada. They feel that they are supporting the entire nation of Canada with their hard work, natural resources, and the rest of Canada is a bunch of socialist, welfare state, foreign morons. And by foreign morons, I say Indians, Sikh, Muslims, Palestinians. Canada is just chock full of these idiots, and Alberta is done with it. So there's a problem, though, with Alberta trying to leave Canada, and the problem isn't Canada, folks. The problem is China, right? The China threat. They're saying there's a threat of China with Alberta. Interesting. U.S. journalists are very upset, because conservative leaders are messed up. Now, look, if Alberta wants to leave the Canadian system, our country, the United States of America, must absolutely guarantee that Alberta joins the United States as a territory, as a sovereign province that we will protect, period. That's the arrangement we used to have with Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, etc. That used to be our deal with them. We've now proven we can't take care of them. So we aren't going to have cheap, plentiful oil out of the Middle East now. But our friends in Canada have been supplying us with inexpensive, plentiful oil as well. So if we lose the Middle East, not so much to peace, but to free markets, we lose our preferred customer advantage, and we don't get cheap oil out of the Middle East. Alberta, folks, if China makes a deal with Canada, Alberta, if China gets them, we lose extremely cheap oil. This is a national security item, folks. It's a national security item. So we just have to step back for 1 second and ask ourselves, who is running the government of the United States of America? Is it President Trump? Is it Congress? Or is it something else? Is it the World Economic Forum? Are they running America? Is it our enemies that we don't like in the central banking cartel, the international banking cartel. What does the World Economic Forum want for us? Because if Trump isn't in charge, if he's not pulling, the trigger, if he's not pressing the buttons, if he's not the one in charge, who is? Who is? Well, I've seen a lot of people in black suits and black hats standing around the Resolute desk and the president. I've seen a lot of bankers. I've seen a lot of, shall we say, dual citizens pushing around the president. This is going to get ugly for us. Now, on top, oil's everything. Peace, oil. Peace or oil, folks. Without oil, we're not going to have peace. We're going to have a shit show. Right now, all of our bulk tanks are just about done. And by done, I mean done. We have, and are supposed to have, a strategic national reserve of oil, energy, and our refineries have been draining their tanks while waiting for this Iranian war to end. And like I said, the Iranians, they've been suffering for 40 fucking years under U.S. sanctions, Washington, D.C. sanctions. Another 6 months isn't going to hurt them at all, and they know it. And they have said as much. So my question to you is, does Trump have the ability to get the hell out of the Middle East, save face, create some sort of feeling of peace, disarm, disable, step back, and then are we going to be able to resume the world similar to the way it used to be? Because it's not going to be the same. Not in my opinion, not anymore, not according to the experts. It's not going to be the same because Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. If Trump wants to stay there and fight him, it's going to prolong the problems that are supposed to become very apparent this coming week. Very apparent. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you think is more important than oil and war and who's controlling our government? So you ask the question that way, and it really kind of makes you think. Oil is pretty fucking important. Energy, which fuels our vehicles, our transportation system in large, the rail system, the airplane jet system. It powers our power plants. Energy without it, we'll have no food. We'll have no water. We'll have no lights. We'll have no peace. We need the energy. It's not a fucking game. All that oil down in Venezuela, by the way, it's not coming here. No. American oil companies are selling that abroad. It would be nice if we had oil coming here, but we don't. Not to the extent and in the volumes we need. This is SHTF, and it's just off screen, right? It's just off screen. It's talking to us, but it's kind of just off screen. But if you know where to look in the news and you're subscribed to the right, shall we say, pundits, experts, insiders, you'll learn more about all of the facets of SHTF. Not just, well, do I want Vietnam era jungle boots or do I want the new jungle boots from, to be prepped with? Pretty important stuff. Okay. Great topic. I really want to thank you there, Viking, for that. Okay. And folks, it is Sunday Night Live. Super chat button's right up there to get your comments on the screen down here. It is your show. It is Sunday night. I want to hear from you guys. I've got a lot to talk about, folks. But it's your show. And, of course, the thepreparedmind.club is your website. I don't sell anything. I just have links that connect you with suppliers for food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. And I got to tell you, you're going to need to be prepared for what is coming. It is not going to be fun or easy. And, this happened this weekend. This used to be something that we would call and consider completely bizarre, completely barbaric, unheard of, unconscionable. On a rail train in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States of America, an elderly woman was stabbed to death. And the media calls it brutally stabbed to death. Is there a way to politely or rationally or calmly be stabbed to death? Fucking media. Brutally stabbed to death. Broad daylight. Not in the early wee hours of the morning. Not late at night when she shouldn't have been there. Broad daylight. An elderly woman stabbed to death. The suspect was identified. He was arrested. I saw the video of him laying on the platform to get on the train. Cops had him cuffed and on the ground. He's alive. He's going to get 3 hots and a cot. 3 hots and a cot, meaning he's going to get 3 meals a day and a bed to sleep in. He's going to be in jail. He'll probably have air conditioning. He'll have legal counsel. And I'm sure in Atlanta, Fulton County, you remember that from 2020, Fulton County? They'll probably give him little to no sentence and let him go, because that's what we're seeing. What used to be bizarre, what used to be barbaric is now the standard. And in fact, in the comments, I see that other people are saying, yeah, elderly people are being attacked. Now, years ago, 5 years ago, and I made this observation, shared it with a friend, just yesterday. I said, it used to be that the one who was, at risk of being stabbed and beat anytime was us American dudes, especially us white guys. Because, with some of the brown folk, you might think they're on your side because, I don't know, terrorists are idiots. And then some of the black folk, you might think that they're terrorists too. Well, Americans are Americans and color doesn't matter. But it used to be like I was the most liable to be stabbed, shot. And then a couple of years ago, something flipped. These foreign fucks, these ghetto slime, started punching women on the street and stabbing women on the street and assaulting women on the street and raping women in the street. And they would have gone after Asians and elderly Asians. They've gone after elderly everybody, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't matter. They're attacking them because they're an easy target. Right? This guy that did the stabbing, I believe, is an Arab. That's my guess, a Muslim rather, if you will. And he is the usual culprit these days. Now, of course, we still have Antifa and BLM and American communists out there, but they tend to still go after conservatives or people they think they're conservatives. So don't do what I'm about to recommend. Do not get Trump stickers and put them on the cars of known Democrat liberals, especially Democrat liberals parking their cars near protests, because then other liberals might bash those cars in. So don't do that. I'm telling you, don't do it. Crazy place, folks. Oh, interesting. This is good. Bruce says, well, I'm glad my dad carries a 41 revolver. Interesting. A friend of mine had a 41 Magnum Smith & Wesson revolver, and it was quite a weapon. It had like an 8-inch fucking barrel. Definitely dirty, hairy. And by dirty, hairy, I mean dirty. Now, Chin Music has stepped in the house and he's put up a $52.23 super chat donation through Venmo. So thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Please send me via text message or even email, but text message, of course, is the easiest one for me to find. Oh, there it is. There it is. I've got his comment, and I've got a 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey. Woo! Coming in. I'm going to pour this one a little bigger. There we go. All right. There we go. Anyways, thank you, Chin Music. We had a really good talk earlier in the week about things you need to be prepared. I went through it all. I think that was Friday's show. Anyways, thank you, Chin Music. Oh, mama, pour them a little tall. That extra 10% you can feel. So, Chin writes me and says, the judicial system is one of the institutions the government is using to drive a wedge between all of us. I agree. He says, eventually people will tire of criminals being let go to reoffend. And the public will start street justice. Eroding public trust in institutions is part of Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. A man named Saul Alinsky wrote a book called Rules for Radicals. Chin continues, even a judge in the United Kingdom, Britain, let 3 rapists who were found guilty, he let them off. It's sad times, folks. Better be ready to defend yourself. I agree, man. I unbelievable. It is unbelievable. If a bartender can be charged with being an accessory to murder or manslaughter, if a drunk driver kills someone else, I have no clue why a judge is not held responsible, or at least as an accessory to the crime of murder, rape, robbery, theft, fraud, corruption, etc., that these people do after they've been let out. You know, we used to talk about sentences being too light and that there's no real reformation in the prisons. So, you know, criminal recidivism is huge. They just go out, they get in trouble, they rejoin their gangs, they commit crimes, they violate probation, and they go right back to prison. Now they don't bother with that. These people that are getting out aren't interested in good old-fashioned crime. They're going right back to what they did before: robbing, raping, murdering, pushing people in front of trains. Unbelievable, folks. Really unbelievable. Public trust. That is such a good topic, a good way to approach this. Public trust. You see, we, the people, have a contract with the government. It's called the United States Constitution, or originally known as the Constitution for these United States. In this document, we, the people, entrust the government with authority to protect us, protect the nation, to guarantee and protect our rights against abuse by all governments, from local to state to federal, as well as anyone from another country fucking with us. We elect them, and some are appointed. All of them are to take an oath, and they're supposed to place their hand on a Bible and swear to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And they don't. They're not doing any of those things. That's what we've got, folks. I agree. They need to be held accountable. And Saul Alinsky, by the way, is a communist piece of shit. And his playbook, which is what he wrote, a communist playbook for overthrowing a government, is being followed to the fucking letter. It's being implemented by the CIA against our own people, our own government. It's being instituted, and I mean this seriously, by the FBI. It's being instituted and allowed to operate within our country by the Department of Homeland Security, by the judges, by the police, by the sheriffs. It's being allowed. Any government official allowing anyone to initiate, promote, and carry out these rules for radicals, the title of the book, is committing treason. 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 Thank you very much, Chin Music. You're the man. All right. Let us continue. We've got another super chat right here. Super chat button up there gets you right here on the screen. Super chat. And Big Dan, the man, is back with a $5 super chat. He's here every week, just like Chin, just like Darcy T, just like Viking. And I want to thank you guys for your contributions. So Big Dan says, the problem, I think, in the entire Middle East is these people have been baked in the sun for too long, and it's shrunk their brains. Your thoughts? Oh, man. Where do I go with this one? Okay. Prior to the foundation of the United States of America, people didn't get educated. Prior to the Protestant, shall we say, Reformation of Christianity in Europe, the average person could not read nor write. You wanted to go to a baker, you looked for a sign that had a rolling pin, and that's your baker. And a blacksmith was a pair of tongs and maybe a horseshoe. They used symbols to communicate who they were. But, after the Protestant Reformation and during what's known as the Renaissance, education became something that was more popular. People wanted to read the Bible for themselves, the rules of morality, etc. And they discovered that in education, understanding a little bit about math, understanding a little about history, maybe a little about philosophy, literature, even sciences, it was kind of an important thing. You could live a better life. As soon as people started getting educated, they started inventing things, right? They started inventing things like the printing press. There's an idea, which became the Xerox, which became the internet, right? Anyways, in the West, it was a big deal. In the United States of America, they said, we need public schools. There is no way, and this is a fucking joke because of what has been done. There's no way a country can be taken over if the populace is educated on the Constitution, our own history, general education, period. We cannot fail and be taken over by tyrants. But look at our schools today. Our schools are being run by these fucking communists. They're not teaching kids to read. They're not teaching kids to write. Children right now currently don't learn cursive. They learn, printing, the phonetic alphabet in basic letters. I was doing cursive in 3rd grade. Okay, it wasn't in a private school, it's public. In other words, what I'm saying is they're not teaching math, they're not teaching writing, they're not teaching reading, and they're certainly not teaching the Constitution. So even though we have schools and we pay out the fucking nose in taxes, the children are not receiving an education. And they're succumbing to propaganda, brainwashing, or indoctrination, if you want to call it that. And they're indoctrinating them with Marxist thought, socialist concepts, anti-American dogma. And so we are being taken over. And our country is being controlled by tyrants. And it's going to have to come to violence. Violence. As Chin Music wrote at the end of his comment, sad times, better be ready to defend yourself. And as I noticed in the comments section, people are now openly talking about the need to defend our country using violence, upholding our own laws for ourselves, our families, our communities, and our states. In other words, if the police aren't going to do their jobs, we will. If the sheriffs won't do their jobs, we can. If the judges won't put a sentence on a criminal that has stabbed an old woman to death, that has dragged a child into the bushes and raped them, that has done a home invasion and killed an entire family. If the government won't do its fucking job, then yes, we will. We will, and we should. And it says so right in here. It says so right in there. It is our right in the Declaration of Independence. It states this. As free people, it is our right and it is our duty to defend our country, to defend our own Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And our country, folks, is full of domestic enemies. Now back to Big Dan the Man. These people have been baked in the sun. You bet your ass they have. Right? He's talking about the Muslims and the Arabs and the other worthless fucks that are over in our country and all over Europe. They have been baked in the sun. But what's worse is they've never had any formal education. All they have ever gotten, ever, is the ability to read and read the Quran and believe that is correct. The Quran is the law of Allah, blah, blah, blah. Right? Aloha snack bar. That's all they know. And they believe that it is more important than any country, any other institution, period. Secular government means nothing to them. It is to be avoided by them while they try and, shall we say, establish Sharia law and start raping and murdering on a wider scale. But look at England right now. Look at England right now. You can be Sikh, you can be Hindu, you can be Muslim, you can be from the Middle East, you can be from India, you can be from Pakistan, you can be from North Africa. Doesn't fucking matter. You can stab somebody and claim they called you a racist. The police will watch you bleed out on the ground, die, while handcuffed, laughing at you, while this piece of shit from another country, and in this case, you guys know who I'm talking about, the teenage Brit, a young man, was chased, stabbed, fucking murdered. And he was bleeding into his lungs because he was stabbed in his chest and his back. And the cops just watched him bleed out and laughed because the Sikh, S-I-H-K, no longer will I defend the Sikh. I used to, because after 9/11, they're like, this is terrible, this is bad. I met Sikh people, right? They like to wear the big turban. Nope, no more. Because now they're carrying around their ceremonial knives and they're stabbing white people, murdering them, then lying, hiding their weapon, lying some more, bearing false witness. Well, he called me a racist name, so I stabbed him. That's your fucking justification? Folks, if that's the case, there would be a trail of blood 100 fucking miles long behind me for everyone that insulted me, insulted my religion, insulted my country, beat me up, pushed me around, picked on me, was a racist, etc. You don't get to use that as an excuse. Well, I was upset. I was insulted, my religion, blah, blah, blah. Even if you're said, we can't ask the kid. We can't ask the kid. He's dead. He's dead. He doesn't get to talk and share his side of the story because he was fucking murdered. And he's been found guilty, by the way. And now in England, those 3 cops, I believe they're all female, British cops, stood there and watched this young man die, didn't get medical attention for him, didn't believe him when he said he was stabbed, didn't believe him when he said he couldn't breathe because his lungs were filling with blood. They have body cams and the government's not releasing it. They're going to have a revolution over there, folks. It's going to get fucking ugly. It needs to happen. We need to cull the cancer, meaning we need to kill the cancer. Cancer is a parasite. It lives off a host organism. Cancer must be killed. You can't live with cancer. You can't share with cancer. You can't convince cancer to be good and do the right thing. Cancer doesn't care. Parasites don't care. They live off of you and kill you. Period. Now, back to the sun-baked fucking Muslims. No education. No intelligent thought. They operate from a basis of religious zealotry and extremism, believing they have the right and authority from their God, Allah, to kill anyone that they feel is offensive. Now, another factor in this is they all suffer from serious inbreeding. The Pakistanis, the Indians, the Muslims everywhere, in the Middle East, in Africa, everywhere, they inbreed, meaning they're fucking their mothers, their sisters, their brothers, their cousins, and that lowers your IQ, and it fucking shapes your head. Look at these people, folks, everywhere in the Middle East. Everywhere. Everywhere. Everywhere you find these people, you find inbredness. Jordan, Palestine, Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Somalia for sure. Name a country that's Muslim. They're inbred as fuck. India, Pakistan, it doesn't fucking matter. Afghanistan, Iraq, they're inbred. They are not capable. Their IQs are down here at the bottom. Anyways, Big Dan, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Great topic, crazy stuff. And checking in this week is RM125 Hooligan with a $4.99 super chat donation. And he says, amping you up again, the 1911 45 ACP or the Anaconda 44 Mag, John, your expertise. Well, I don't own a 44 mag or a 41 mag. I own two 357 Magnums. And if I was trying to stop a bear, I would have to defer to the 44 mag. The sheriff of Amador County back in the early 90s used to hunt a bear with a 44 mag. And he also was anti-IRS, and he ended up dying of unusual circumstances. Yeah, a guy who's capable of running around the Sierra Nevada mountains anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 foot elevation hunting bear on foot is going to die of a heart attack, huh? Yeah, this is pre-COVID vaccine, by the way. Anyways, I'm a big fan of the 45 ACP and a big fan of the 357. The reason is those two rounds have proven to be, for over a century, they've been capable, more than capable, of taking down our number one most dangerous predator on the planet. And that alpha predator that is the most dangerous is none other than the human being. 45 ACP will, well, knock it down. I remember as a young man, after I got out of the Marines, went to a gun show in Sacramento, California. And we're looking at 45s on a table, and the salesman, he was pretty good. He looked at a friend of mine. He goes, hey, you know, you can buy one of them other guns, but you buy the 45. I mean, all you got to do is hit someone in the thumb and it'll blow their head off. It was just a funny saying. This guy was a riot, but he's like, knockdown power, stopping power. The only problem I have with the 44 mag is the Dirty Harry issue of shooting clean through someone. Even the 357, if you're shooting FMJs, full metal jackets, and not hollow points, they can penetrate and over penetrate and keep going. That's a worry. But other than that, folks, get yourself some self-defense, whether it's a 45, a 44, a 9mm, 357, a 40. I don't care. I really don't. We can argue about the merits of each one and the historical ass-kickingness of each one. But it just comes down to you being trained, you having self-defense, something you can hold, carry, and protect yourself, because we're about to find out in America that it is now going to be a lottery every day. A lottery. And I don't mean you're going to win millions. I mean, every day there's going to be 1,000 people that walk down the street, and one of them is going to get punched, robbed, stabbed, raped, murdered. Now, you can either choose to be a victim or you can choose to not be a victim. I choose to not. But there's something else that's going on out there, and I think it's that people are absolutely disgusted with our government failing to protect us. And what I'm going to say is, in my area of Florida, if I hear of anybody being attacked by a Muslim or being attacked by one of these Antifa BLM fucks, I'm going to make it known to the law enforcement that if they don't put an end to it, and I mean fast, and if the judges let these people go, they're going to be facing a lot of angry citizens who are going to have to defend themselves. Right? In other words, if the police don't do their jobs, we will. If the judges don't do their jobs, we will. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have my family killed because some fucking left-wing sack of shit, George Soros money taking bullshit, Bill Clinton sucking loser wants to play games with our country and our Constitution. Not going to happen. All right, so here it is, Sunday Night Live. Super chat button up here gets you on the screen, just like Northern Pike, with a very simple recommendation with a $2 super chat. He says, hey, fight and enjoy the golden age after 60. Manifest that. I tell you what, Northern Pike, I am doing my best to manifest just that. I don't want to get to 60 too fast, man. Fuck. Life is going by so fast already. I mean, here I am at age 56. I started doing the show, folks, right before I turned 44. Over a decade of my life, I've dedicated to helping people wake up, sharing with them what's going on, the facts, as well as my opinions, and a lot more facts, things that are hidden, things that are disguised, things that are suppressed. I want that information out in the open so people can make informed decisions. Informed decisions about what? Who to vote for, what philosophies are dangerous and which are American, etc. Crazy business. Anyways, Northern Pike, super chat button up here. Thank you very much. Your dollars support this channel. Appreciate it much. Now, I'm going to give you just a taste of what I mean by if you weren't educated, you might just vote. You might think, right, that someone is a decent enough person. Well, now I know, with a very rare set of exceptions, all the Republicans are just as anti-American as the Democrats. And I don't say that with glee. I'm not trying to get a rise out of you or piss you off. But look at how they're voting. The Republicans in Congress and the Senate are not voting to secure our elections, secure the border, put down terrorism, put down communism, and stop fucking sending our money to other countries and sending our military around the fucking world to die and waste our munitions and missiles and bombs and rockets and planes and jets and helicopters and our warships just because someone else wants us to. So here's an example. There's a jackass Democrat in Texas named James Tallarico, and he hates America. But he's running for Congress. He just blasphemed Christianity and America, folks. It's incredible to me that this guy would say the things he said. Republicans and Democrats are taking turns insulting America, failing to do their jobs and live up to the oaths they swore. They're slandering our faith, ignoring the law, and stealing our nation from us, and in fact, giving it away to others. What did James Tallarico say? When he said that God is non-binary, among other things. I'm pretty sure the pronoun he has been used to describe him. But what I'm saying, I guess, about all of this is these fucking people all think these things. They're allowing Satanism into schools. They're having drag queens read books to children now in public fire departments and then harassing anybody who wants to film it and demonstrate this sexual deviancy being shoved down our children's throats yet again. A violent revolt is coming. That's all I got to say. A violent revolt is coming. And until we hold the scumbags and our government accountable, personally accountable, they're going to keep selling our nation to foreign religious cults. Period. It's happening now, folks. And we all see it, that our country is being sold out from under us. It's being sold and given to these criminals. It's being sold and given to other nations, banks, corporations. Right? From our military to our money to our homeland and our real estate. Just like these data centers are being given out, fast-tracked to these massive corporations who are going so far as to not just insult us by taking our power and causing prices to go up, taking all the water they can and stealing it, but they're also saying we have to fucking pay for their data centers. We're being robbed by foreign influence, which is treason. When a foreign nation controls our Congress, right, which is House of Representatives and the Senate and the White House and the president and vice president, when they are purchased with foreign money, foreign influence, that's treason, folks. It is a death penalty offense to give our country away, to risk our national security, to give away our assets, our resources, and the lives and the blood of Americans. That is treason. And that is also a death penalty offense. And it needs enforcement right away. You want to talk about politicians stop selling our fucking country to Europe or to China or to Israel? Stop it. You start hanging them. You fucking hang them. This was founded as a Christian nation under the Bible, not Muslim, not Jewish. It is not Judeo-Christian. It never was. That was a fucking lie created by none other than a Zionist Jew. Period. It's a fucking trick. Once again, just like the Holocaust was a trick to make everyone feel guilty so you don't question what they're doing. Justice is going to have to come, folks. It always does. It always does. What do you guys want to talk about? Super chat button right up there. We're past 1 hour now. We're going to go 2 hours. Let's see. I've had 2 shots of scotch. Someone made a bet at the very beginning. Anyways, let's continue if we shall. You know, if you're elected as a politician or appointed in America, you should be all American, and you're supposed to place your hand on a Bible and swear that you're going to defend and uphold the Constitution. This isn't ambiguous. It's not hard to understand. So when a socialist or communist is either elected or appointed, they are charged with the same rule. The mandate is uphold and defend the Constitution, whether you're a communist or not, which is why communists and socialists were not allowed to hold office in this country. Muslims, foreigners were not allowed to vote or hold office in this country because they're not American and they're not Christians. Period. Guess what? Our own politicians reverse that. And now we get to deal with this shit. Like that stupid communist bitch in Seattle, the mayor, who's done what? Oh, she stood up in front of a bunch of Muslims and said that she's really sticking out her hand. Yeah, like that's good. Like they're really gonna appreciate communism. All they want is to steal everything they can and subvert white people and destroy this country. Oh, by the way, I'm a minority. Just like all of you guys. We're all minorities. People who love freedom and freedom of religion and freedom of speech, out of the 8 billion people in the world, that think like you and I, right, we're only 350 million. 350 million. That makes us a serious minority. And on top of that, whites are, I believe, 7 to 8% of the world population. We are definitely a minority. So I'm going to claim minority protection of my free speech and my ability to do whatever the fuck I want. All right. But, speaking of communists, the communist governor of New Jersey is named Mickey the Dumb Bitch Cheryl. Mickey is blaming immigrations and customs enforcement agents for all the violence that is being committed by these communist left-wing thugs who have been lighting fires, attacking law enforcement with weapons, using chemical agents at the Newark, New Jersey detention center. Now, what I want to bring up here is pretty important. The United States of America is in the same place as Europe was 2 years ago. So what I'm here to tell you is get ready, America. Get ready, Canada. Get ready, Australia. There are going to be beheadings and rapes. They're going to push no free speech. They're going to push arrests. And wait. Yeah, they want to silence you, but let the left-wingers talk. They want to silence you, but have the Muslims screaming and praying in the streets. They're going to silence you, but Israel's going to control the government. They're going to silence you, and then you can be beat, raped, harassed, murdered, stolen from, etc. Now, unlike Australia, New Zealand, unlike Canada, unlike, Great Britain, we the people have guns in the United States of America, and we will use them on criminals, we will use them on Satanists, and we will use them on tyrants if and when it is absolutely called for. And it is called for, once again, in the Declaration of Independence. It specifically authorizes Americans to protect themselves and protect this country. It claims, it says, this was signed by members of our own government. The Declaration of Independence was used to create the Constitution. And it says, it is your right and it is your duty to protect America and the people from evil. And we see the evil, folks, do we not? We see it clearly. So when things get nasty, I'm going to be saying, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Because I'm not going to stand by idly in my area. I can't control extreme northern Florida. I can't control extreme southern Florida. I can't control Georgia or Mississippi or Texas or Montana. I can't control any place. But I can control what's going on in my area. In my very specific 10-mile radius area. Because this is where I live, and this is what I know, and this is what I see. And I know the people, they're good. And if these knuckleheads, these fucking satanic scumbag, religious zealot, murderous fucks want to make a problem, we the people have a right and a duty. A right and a duty to protect the state. And you do as well, my friends. You are an American. You have the opportunity to buy a gun, to train with it, to receive training if you don't know, to continue to train and practice and understand your duties on an intellectual level. You see, I think the people of Britain have been pushed way too far. The people of Britain keep looking to the police to help them. And the people of Britain keep being failed by their own government. If they speak up, they get arrested. If they try and take action, they get arrested. If they go on the media, they get arrested. If they use social media, they get arrested. If they try talking to their parliament, they get arrested. If you complain, you get arrested. If I were a Brit, I'd be saying, no, today you're not going to arrest me. In fact, I'm going to arrest you. Now, there's some funny things, right, that happen out there. Let me just put you in a hypothetical. You, my friend, are walking down the street and you see a Ferrari and you walk over to it and you smash the window in. Whoops. And you continue to walk down the street, and a policeman was called. He was given a description of you based on how you look at the clothing you're wearing, the direction you're walking in, and he sees you as the prime suspect for doing grand felony damage. It's grand theft auto. You didn't steal it. You just did felony damage to it, right? You fled the scene. You damaged property. That's a fucking felony. So he says, I'm going to arrest you. And you say, no, you're not. And you fight the guy, and you pull a gun, so he shoots you. The cop shoots you because you pulled a gun on him when he was lawfully authorized to arrest you. And so he ended up having to shoot you to defend himself. Now, if you, on the other hand, are walking down the street and you see someone in the government violating the law, I don't know, a judge, a district attorney, letting criminals go. They have violated the law, so you try arresting them, and they fight you, and they pull out a gun to shoot you for arresting them lawfully. Do you have the right to defend yourself and shoot them because they're trying to shoot you? Answer it for yourself. I can't tell you. You have to think for yourself. If someone I see, and let's just say this is now not a government person, not a judge, not a district attorney, not a sheriff's deputy, not the chief of police. No, I just see a criminal on the street assaulting, let's just say, a man, and he pulls out a knife and he stabs the guy, and I run over and start defending the man, and the guy takes his knife and he starts slashing at me. Do I have the right? Do I have the authority as a free American? Do I have the authority to pull out my gun and shoot him in self-defense and the defense of others? And the answer is yes, I do. Yes, I do. So what's the difference between that and standing up to a government official who is committing a crime or allowing criminals to continue to commit heinous crimes? I have a right to stop them as much as I have a right to stop someone else. Do I not? Or am I off? Am I legally off? Am I philosophically off? I'm not saying that the government employee is going to like it, but at some point, when do we stand up for what we know to be right and exercise our rights, our duties, which government has failed to do? In England, they've completely failed the people. They are ripe for a violent revolution and overthrow. America is not far behind. Not far behind. The Unprepared Mind checks in with a $9.99 super chat donation. And Chelsea and husband, please use all caps and get your comment in down below because you did a super chat donation through Venmo. Okay, so if you've done it once, just do it again, if you will. And hopefully all caps, that helps me find it. Anyways, the Unprepared Mind writes, this could be avoided if we collectively stand up now, not tomorrow. Unfortunately, Mr. Unprepared Mind, this country, nor England, nor any country is going to stand up collectively and protect themselves. Not in England today, not in America tomorrow. It's never worked that way. There's never been a collective agreement. There has never been a collective agreement to stand up and start fighting. In America, the revolution was started at Lexington and Concord. It had to do with farmers and small townspeople being tired of the tyranny of the government, which stole from them, arrested them, murdered them, and literally raped the women, taxed them, lied about them in court, put them in prison for no fucking crime, as well as hiring mercenary forces to murder and bringing in natives to murder and kill and burn and loot and rape. There it is. So it was just a small group of men here and a small group of men there stood up and said, enough of this shit, and started shooting at the redcoats. The consequences. The consequences. Of that type of action. Americans standing up, not all at once and not collectively, but in groups in a local area and saying, our government here is corrupt. These are criminals that need to be brought to justice. Government has failed. That will cause the nation to be in an uproar. People on one side will say that's bad. People on the other side will say this is the way, as you're suggesting. This is the way. This is how it's done. This is how we restore public trust. That is going to need to happen because we will not collectively stand up. Even in England, where over the past few years, 240,000 underage little girls have been kidnapped, drugged, raped, and turned into prostitutes, as well as trafficked or smuggled out of the country as sex slaves. The government doesn't want to embarrass itself or look or sound Islamophobic, so they've allowed it. They've allowed their men to be slaughtered, their women to be raped, their laws to be ignored. And the police are more than willing to accept a paycheck in England and arrest good old-fashioned white Christian Brits. Arrest them. How dare you read the Bible? How dare you object? How dare you point out who's wrong? How dare you? How dare you? You're going to jail. You have caused someone anxiety. Literally, folks, in Britain, you can cause anxiety and you go to jail. You know what I say in America to anyone that doesn't like anxiety? Fuck yourself. That's it. Go fuck yourself. Whatever the fuck you are, I'm going to call it to you and you can go fuck yourself. I'm going to offend the fuck out of anyone I want. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. It's not a threat to insult someone. But in England, it is. So standing up, I'm telling you, man, it's rough stuff. All right. Here's what we got, folks. Here's what we've got. We got Chelsea and husband standing up, and she did a $50 super chat donation through Venmo. And she says, you look like you could use some mother's milk. Indeed. So thank you very much for this, Chelsea. All righty. Right there in the 250th anniversary Marine Corps shot glass sent to me courtesy of Heritage Pewter at www.pewter.com. It's coming, folks. I'm not the only one of these guys. There's many thousands of Marines out there, and we're all capable of being very, very pissed off in a big hurry. Oh, yeah. Marines. Oh, there's a lot of soldiers out there that are equally as pissed and equally as skilled. And just because you're in the Navy or the Air Force doesn't make you a complete puss, not in the least. It's just the branch of service you chose. And all of us love our country, except for the commie fucks. Anyways, she says, topic of your choice. I'm going to take you up on that, Chelsea. I really appreciate that. Chelsea again, Chelsea and husband, Chelsea Weerung. Thank you for the super chat donation. And let's do this. Let's pick a topic here. How about this one? More fake bullshit more social justice bitching and lies. A bunch of feminist idiot Democrats who are in the House of Representatives stood on the steps. I think it was Congress. They're fucking idiots, though. Stood on the steps and said that employers who have hired somebody to work for them, if they won't pay women to stay home from work while on their period, while they're menstruating, if they don't do that, then those employers are committing, quote, economic violence, end quote. Economic violence is telling someone, I'm only paying you by the hour to work. I'm not going to pay you to stay at home. I'm not going to pay you to not work. I'm not going to pay you to do nothing. But that's what these representatives, these communist fuckheads in Congress are saying now. Remember when it was believe her? You must believe any woman that makes an accusation about sexual harassment. It's amazing. They will stand up and say, employer, you must pay this woman. She's menstruating. How do we know that? How do we know that? Because they say so. You got to take them at their word. Right? You can't force them to prove it in some way because of HIPAA law violation, right? But get this, they're going to stand up in Congress and bitch about getting paid and demanding that their rights as women go so far that it's economic violence to not pay them for not being at work. But these same fucking feminist, idiot, stupid ass fucking communist Democrats, they won't object to Muslims raping women. They won't object to illegal alien gangsters from Mexico and Central America and South America. They won't stand up for those women's rights. The women that are being kidnapped, drugged, raped, murdered. They won't say a fucking word about that. But for women that are menstruating, you're going to pay them while they're sitting on their ass at home. Or that's economic violence. See, when they attach the word violence to an economic decision, that's where communism really steps in and takes a bite out of my ass. It is incredibly, incredibly dangerous for these fucking people to use the word violence. Like a microaggression. Remember that word? If someone insults me, well, that's not just an insult. To a communist, that's a microaggression, meaning it's actually hurting them. It's a form of aggression that they, as a communist, have the right to respond in a violent manner over. So I can insult them and say, hey, you suck dicks for beer money, you faggot, right? If I were to say that, that person would be insulted. I didn't challenge them to a fight. I didn't touch them, right? But they could say I committed a microaggression, and then they can hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. They can stalk me, follow me home, destroy my property, set my bunker on fire, pop the lid if they can, pour gas down it, and throw a match. Because, it was a microaggression. Oh, you hurt my feelings. These people insult the fuck out of me merely by bringing oxygen. Every retarded fucking religion from the Middle East. Every one of these dumb goat fuckers. All of these drug dealing scumbags. All of these communist fucks that want to steal your money as much as mine. In fact, they'll get more out of you than me, no doubt. But they want all of our money for nothing. And then if you don't give them what they want, it's economic violence. See, there's the word violence. If you do a micro, meaning small, aggression, it's still an aggression. John, it was that small, but it's still an aggression, so I can get violent. Now they're calling for economic violence, which means they can economically retaliate with violence. Burn your fucking business down. Steal from you. Destroy property. Look, how about this? You're menstruating, you get 2, 3, 4, 5 days off. How about when I feel my injuries and my aches? How about when I feel depressed or stressed or sad or pissed off. Well, isn't that as equally as important as the discomfort you're in as a communist that's menstruating? Right? Can I call in sick since not feeling great is now violence if the company ignores it? Of course not. It's fucking ridiculous. But let's take this one more step further. Remember, you can illustrate absurdity by being even more absurd. So, if women can stay home from work during menstruation because we want to avoid economic violence, what about men who identify as women and say they're menstruating? You can't make them prove it. You have to accept their bullshit lie, right? Well, I'm a girl and I'm menstruating. It doesn't matter that I was born a guy. I'm really on my period. I need to menstruate. Really? Men can do that, right? Under their rules, yes. How about this? I don't even have to claim to be a woman. I can just claim I'm a man and I'm menstruating. None of your fucking business. I'm menstruating. And not just for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I'm a man who's decided my body menstruates and I'm going to take, I don't know, 18 out of 20 days off a month. That's right. I'll work every other week for 1 day. Because you can't fire me. It's a medical condition. And if you don't pay me, that's economic violence. And I'm going to sue you in court because I'm menstruating. Yep, there it is, folks. That's how this shit works. That's how fucking ridiculous they are. All right, let's get back into it. We got David on the Bayou with a $10 kapow super chat donation. Once again, your super chat donations, well, if it's $50 or more, it buys me a scotch. And, well, all of them add up to pay the lighting bill, to put tuna fish and Spam in the pantry, to buy a little bit of scotch, right? Got to have some scotch or drink of choice. But also, folks, we've got lights, electricity, we've got servers, we've got subscriptions. It's not easy to be here, but because you guys do what you do, like David on the Bayou, because of that, I don't have to get a third fucking job to afford to keep the channel up and going. Plus, put all the fucking time into it, which I'm glad to do because you guys pay for it. And that's why I do Sunday Night Live. I'd rather be sitting in a very comfortable chair, sipping a scotch, probably rocks, watching fucking sports games from the 1980s, back when sports was still sports and not some sort of fucking politics, right? That was, but I can't. I'm here because I said I'll be here, and you guys support it. So David on the Bayou says, I can feel them getting closer. The Constitution is not going to save us from barbarians knocking down the wall. Semper Fi. Semper Fidelis is the Marine Corps motto. Come on there. It means always faithful. Always. Doesn't mean just Monday through Friday. When you feel like it. If you know you're going to win and you're comfortable. It's not how that works. Uh-oh. I think Chelsea did another $50 super chat. All right, Chelsea, back into the comments section, all caps, or I'll just go with another chef's choice. In any event, back to David on the Bayou. The bad guys, are getting closer. The bad guys are religious belief systems that are founded and funded, and the foundation is violent, barbaric supremacy, meaning they think they're superior to everyone else on the planet, intellectually, militarily, economically, financially, religiously, spiritually, all that stuff. They think they're superior. And there's two religions. There's the Talmudists and there's the Mohammedans. The Scotch is working. These Mohammedans, right? Those are the two religions that think they're superior to everyone, including each other. This Constitution and the Declaration of Independence will not save us. Not a fucking chance. It will not save you one bit. The Constitution is not going to save America. And I'm not being facetious. I'm being realistic. This is the law, and it's written on paper. I can set it down right here, and it's not going to do anything. But what this does is it tells you that you have a right to speak about any topic you want, anytime you want, to anyone you want, any fucking where you want. It tells you you have the right to defend yourself, others, and the country, and it's your duty to do so. It says you have a right to privacy, to be secure in your persons, your paper, and your private property. The government may not take it. It cannot arrest you without a fucking warrant. It cannot torture you or give you cruel and unusual punishment. And no authority is granted to the government in this unless it is specifically says it has the authority to do so. The government can't make a law overriding this unless it is a supermajority voted on by every fucking buddy practically in government. And those are constitutional amendments. The Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. It doesn't mean the federal government can create an agency, the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. They are not allowed, because they're a federal agency, to make up their own rules and infringe on your Second Amendment right to protect yourself, to have whatever gun it takes to do so, to protect yourself, your family, your friends, your countrymen, and your country, period, the state. But the government thinks it can. Oh, you can't have a magazine with that many rounds of ammunition, or you can't have a muzzle brake, and you can't have a silencer, and you can't have a pistol grip, and you can't have a bayonet lug, and you can't have a blah, 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 blah. Nothing in here says the government can just make shit up. But yes, you're right, David. This will not save you. What we have a responsibility with this comes down to me and you. And it's understanding what this says. And then we have to be willing to stand up and save ourselves from these barbarians at the fucking gate. And they're not just at the gate, folks. They're under the gate, through the gate, and over the gate. They're in our country. These people with foreign religious beliefs that fucking hate us, and they claim they're superior. And if you object to them or point it out, they call you an anti-Semite, or they call you an Islamophobe. Call me all the names you want. Call me all the names you want, you pieces of shit. But if you're not American and this is not your law, and if the golden rule isn't what guides you, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, then you're not an American. If you're governed by any other fucking law, you're not an American. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we're all supposed to be equal under the law. But those people that I just mentioned, the Mohammedans and the Talmudists, they believe they're superior to you, and they will fucking kill you. They're going to knock down the wall. They're at the gate. They're going to come after us. They don't give a shit. It's coming. And David says, I can feel them getting closer. Indeed, you can. Northern Pike says, fight as striving against a disease or for a cause. Thank you for the great super chat, Northern Pike. It's a very short sentence, right? Very brief, very curt. Fight as striving against a disease or for a cause. So if you've got an enemy that wants to kill you, and they've said it, look, folks, this call for white extermination is real. It's not fake. It's not bullshit. It's not hyperbole. It is real, and it is coming out of people who are Talmudists and Mohammedans, period. They're writing books. They're writing articles. They're printing it. They're saying it on television. They're saying it in colleges. They're saying it in their private meetings. Kill all Americans. That's what they're fucking saying. That is their goal. This is what you have to stop them. Now, if you got a disease, a blood infection, leukemia, which is blood cancer, How about cancer? Do you just give up and roll over and die? Or do you fight with everything you've got, knowing that either you stand up and you fight this fucking disease or you're going to die? You need to fight for a cause as hard as you would fight against a disease. It's either them or you. It's the disease or you. And my cause is freedom. My cause is my country. I am a patriot. My cause is my people. That is to say, people who think like me, wanting equality, freedom of speech, freedom, self-preservation, freedom for privacy, protection, property rights, etc., etc., etc. Freedom, right? That's the cause. So fight for it, folks, because if you don't, it's going to be taken from you. Big Dan the Man checks in with a $10 super chat donation, and he has this to say. And this has been one of the things that has rubbed a lot of people raw and wrong because they don't want to admit they've done something that's not working out. So Dan says, I voted for Trump 3 times. This time he ran on ending the war and stopping the border problem. Also, fix the economy with cheaper fuel costs, and here we are. This is not what I voted for President Trump. Now, is Dan being insulting towards Trump? Yes, he called him President Trump. Did President Trump insult every single patriotic American that voted for him? Yes. He said that we're not needed, we're not wanted, he doesn't care what we think, we're fucking idiots, we're stupid, etc. When it came to the Epstein files, you didn't list the Epstein files. He turned on us, said he doesn't need us, said he doesn't give a fuck. When he was asked about inflation, the high cost of fuel, he said, it's not my concern. Not my concern. I don't have to worry about that shit. Of course you don't. You're a fucking billionaire. In fact, he's made over $1 billion just last year, according to some reports, because of his insider trading. Since when does any politician deserve to have insider trading profits? It's fucking disgusting. Now, yeah, Big Dan insults Trump because Trump insulted us. When you run for public office, you are a public servant. You're not God. You're not a king. Yeah, we know this stuff, right, John? Yeah, we know this stuff, John. You're not a God. You're not king. You're not superior, but they sure think they are and act like it. But to get elected, politicians tell us what they're going to do. Those are called campaign promises. And you cannot be considered a good public servant, a successful public servant, if you have not lived up to your promises, your campaign promises. Now, George H.W. Bush, the daddy Bush, vice president through the 80s and then president from 89 to 91 or 92, that guy, what did he do wrong? Well, the most egregious thing he said was, as a campaign promise, read my lips, no new taxes. You guys remember that? It was right up there with his 1,000 points of light, wouldn't be prudent, the New World Order's coming, all this shit. Oh, the New World Order's coming. He wasn't fucking lying. He was not fucking lying. It is coming, folks. You can feel the hot satanic breath on your neck from the New World Order. Now, Trump ran, said he was going to, no new wars, close the border, get the illegals out, get our economy roaring, reduce fuel and costs, reduce and eliminate inflation, make America great again. Here we are, folks. Our military is being used by Israel against Iran. Iran was not threatening America. Iran wasn't promising to destroy us. They weren't threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz. They weren't doing anything to America. They weren't attacking American bases. Nothing. So now we have a war there. He has not ended the war in Ukraine. Instead, the United States of America is still funding Ukraine with money, And folks, the get this. I went and looked it up. The companies that make super yachts, these are shipping manufacturing corporations. They make giant fucking ships. You know who they're making ships for? The people who are ordering the most ships, the most super yachts, are Ukrainians. I had no fucking clue the average Ukrainian could buy a fucking super yacht. Unbelievable. It's our money that is being sent to Ukraine, is being fucking stolen. Now, some of it, of course, is coming back to America to fund our politicians to make sure they send more money to Ukraine. And they've been doing it for fucking years. That's kind of a war issue, don't you think? Fix the economy. How about that? Lowering fuel costs, inflation, so we can at least live. Americans are having a hell of a time making their monthly nut, making the bills. It is absolutely insane and frustrating. Trump is losing an awful lot of support, and he's going to continue to lose support. Now, Chelsea did another $50 super chat, and 735. Good golly, I'm going to have a hard time finding it. I see. I see Rooster Cogburn and Cottage Farm and Hooligan and Mighty something or another. And I remember Semper Fi, do or die, gung ho. What makes the grass grow? Blood. Yeah, I remember all that shit. Okay, I'm looking for Chelsea Wearing because she did another super chat. And if I don't see, I'm just scrolling through here. There's Big Dan. I will just do Chef's Choice. And it looks like I'm going to do Chef's Choice. Okay. Putin has now warned European nations that Moscow can, quote, raze to the ground, end quote, any country attempting to attack the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad. Now, Kaliningrad is, I don't know what, I've heard it called an oblast. It is a very small state it's a Russian state, Russian province. It's on the Baltic Sea, which heads out and goes by Denmark and Sweden and past England out in the Atlantic. Kaliningrad is tiny. And I think the countries of Lithuania and Estonia are between it and Russia. Maybe it's Lithuania, Estonia, and there's just tiny little former Soviet provinces. Anyways, there's just a little room there. And it is a seaport for Russia. And they have agreements with countries. Don't fuck with us. We won't fuck with you. But they're being threatened. So Russia and Putin has basically said, anyone wants to fuck with us. He's used the word raise to the ground. But it's not RAISE to the ground. I'm not going to raise you out of the grave. You know, get a good strong grip on the hand and pull you out of the grave. Nope. It's not that kind of raising. Raise to the ground means fucking bomb you, burn you, destroy you to the ground. Any country in Europe that wants to attack Russia's assets, Russia's people, or Russia's sovereign territory. Putin is pissed. And he is now taking action. I don't want to root for Putin. You know what I root for? You know what I hope to see? I hope to see law and order. I hope to see the application of justice and righteousness and decency. What Europe is doing to its own people, much less its neighbors, is not what I call good. But if they fuck with Russia, I think it's going to be big trouble in little Europe. Europe is not what they once were, if ever. the Germans would be the only country that's probably capable of supplying a military and raising a military, that is to say personnel. But the Germans, of course, operate out of guilt and shame because of World War II. They're still suffering under guilt from the Holocaust. But the rest of Europe has always gotten their ass kicked. The Germans would have won World War II, folks, if the United States of America didn't get sucked in to oppose the Germans. Germany would have easily finished France, which they had already done by the time America got involved. They were bombing the ever-loving shit out of London, England, with their buzz bombs, their V1 and V2 rockets. They would have continued on into Spain and Portugal and taken them with very little resistance. Italy was on their side, and that would have just left them with holding off the Turks, the Ottoman Empire, or the Middle East, if you will, and they would have gone after Russia. No one's ever defeated Russia. I'm not saying that would be easy, but the only one that could possibly ever hope to stand up against Russia would be Germany. But those days are over. Crazy business. We got more super chats, folks. Super chat button right up there. That's how you get on the screen down here. And oh yeah, that was that last topic, Putin and raising and not fucking with Kaliningrad. Gets another scotch because Chelsea Rearing did a $50 Venmo super chat donation. Thank you again, Chelsea and husband. Just good. Good to the last drop. Whew. Mother's milk. Now, here's what Northern Pike says. This is a good rebuttal argument. If not for Trump, Democrats would be standing on the steps in feces. Well, I'm going to assume the steps you mean would be the White House steps and the steps of Congress. And yeah, they'd be knee deep in their own shit if not for Trump. So this is the he's the lesser of two evils argument, because Trump has started new wars. Trump has not gotten all the illegals out. In fact, he says he wants to give them amnesty. They're good people, even though they're murdering and raping and killing and selling drugs. Right? He started new wars. He's giving our money away to foreign countries. He was supposed to do Department of Government Efficiency and reduce all of our fucking fraud. He hasn't done that. Right? He hasn't done what he said. But compared to a Democrat, specifically Kamala Harris, right? Camel Toes Harris, we'd be in far worse shape if Kamala was elected. Yes, I understand that. I agree to that. Trump is far better than she would have been because she wanted to make America and undo what it had once been because of word salad bullshit. Right? Yeah, she's fucking just downright communist, stupid evil. But Trump is not living up to his word, and he is not living up to the expectations of Americans to put America first and make America great again. That is the distinction between a communist and Trump, and the distinction between Trump and an America first, truly patriotic president who wouldn't be interested in making billions of dollars, trading his fucking special coins and trading on the stock market and buying, letting his kids buy companies and then giving him lucrative contracts with the government. This is insider trading. This is fucking nepotism. It is fucking corrupt. It's fraud. It's shit. And it should not be allowed. And there's no one capable of standing up to it. I can't. I mean, I would if I had authority. I have no authority. Who has the authority to stand up to him? Who should stand up to the president in this case? Congress has the power and the authority to impeach the president. And if done, the Senate has the power and authority to remove the president and penalize him. Never gotten that far in America. 250 years, we've never gotten that far. If not for Trump, we'd be in worse shape. I hear you. I do. I get it, folks. Thepreparedmind.club is our premier website. Go there and you can shop for what you need to get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, right? You need to be prepared. The Prepared Mind. That's why we got this show, right? Now, we're going to go back. Big Dan the Man, $10 super chat, gets the hat trick for the day, right? He says, how about the bus driver crash that killed 5 people and severely injured many, many, many others? Barely spoke English and was not properly licensed as an illegal immigrant driving the commercial bus. The same goes with semis. This is just a fabulous topic. Yeah, I believe this driver wasn't Pakistani, wasn't Indian. I think this driver was Chinese. Perhaps he was Asian and people just said Chinese. But yeah, couldn't speak English and was given a driver's license from Connecticut or California. I can't remember which. But basically, they just hand out not just driver's licenses, folks, which 30 fucking years ago when I started learning about states like California, handing out driver's license to illegal aliens. Well, we have to have a way to identify them. We have to have a way to track them. We have to have a way to regulate them. We have to have a way to tax them. They don't even put their fucking names on driver's license, folks. Literally. Cop says driver's license and insurance. You don't say a word. You just hand them a driver's license that says no name where it says name. The purpose of the driver's license, aka / identity card, is to identify yourself to law enforcement and government if requested in a lawful manner. It's very important, that last part. If it is a lawful request, you have to give them identification. What is the purpose of identification? So they can find out if you're a criminal, if there's a warrant for your arrest, in the case of a driver's license, to determine if you're qualified to drive a vehicle commercially. Now, I do know that the truck I drive and the car you drive, they're not commercial vehicles. You're not actually driving. You are traveling, operating, and exercising a constitutional right to travel. But they've convinced us all we need driver's licenses, and cops and judges don't give a fuck. So we all have driver's licenses, and they'll tell you you're authorized to drive a vehicle, a car, or a motorcycle, or a commercial driver's license, a CDL, meaning you can drive a bus or an 18-wheeler. They're very specific. And so you don't speak English. How can you pass a fucking test? You don't speak English. How can you read a sign? At the same time, they just give them to them anyway. No name required. No birth certificate to prove who you are. I have to have my birth certificate. Well, that's the Scotch speaking. It finally fucking hit me pretty good there. But yeah, that's the deal. People are dying. This guy, whoever the fuck this driver was of this bus that killed 5 people and seriously injured many more, he's not acting as a terrorist. He's trying to make a living in a very, very dangerous, and people like to make fun of truck drivers and bus drivers. Oh, what do they know? They're stupid. That's a dummy's job. Anyone could do that job. Have you ever tried driving a commercial vehicle? I do not professionally drive, nor have I ever, but I've driven trucks with a 2-speed rear end, right? So you got 10 forward gears and 2 reverse gears. It's fucking difficult. I've driven trucks with, over just huge amounts of lumber on them to take them out to job sites. It's very difficult. to see around corners and back up and do this and do that and operate through intersections and see what the fuck's going on in front of you, to the side of you, on the other side, and in back. It's not easy. And to do it commercially when lives are at stake and you're operating up to an 80,000 pound, that's 40 tons rolling down the fucking road. It's unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I want to thank everyone for coming to the show. Man, this has been a good one. Let's get into it, folks. Super chat donations are up here, or Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. You guys have been great for that. And yes, indeed, Chelsea did the 2 super chats. There's a Senate Democrat candidate named Graham Plattner. He has a Nazi tattoo, a literal Nazi tattoo. Not a Knights Templar tattoo, not a Christian tattoo, not just some weird tattoo. It's a Nazi tattoo, a Democrat. And now his words are basically haunting him because a new scandal has arisen in his campaign. Well, I don't give a fuck about his scandal. I just want to talk about Democrats, period. Democrats love Nazi-style murder. Nazi-style murder. In Ukraine, they have the Azov Battalion, which is a Nazi battalion. They have Nazi swastika insignias on their flags in Ukraine, and we're giving them money and weapons and technical information and telling them to attack Russia. We, the United States government, I should say, not me and you, not me personally, fuck that. I wouldn't do that. Our government is giving money to Ukraine, to Nazis, to fight against a sovereign country, and they're killing civilians and getting their own people killed. Unbelievable. Now, Gaza-style Nazi murder. Oh, yeah. The Israelis, the Israeli Defense Force, Mossad, they are killing Palestinian men, Palestinian women, and Palestinian children. And the people of Israel, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, and I'm not lying, I don't have to make this up. I'm not lying, I don't have to make this up. The people of Israel have taken polls and admitted that the majority of them are perfectly fine with killing men, women, and children, not Hezbollah, not Hamas, men, women, and children who are civilians, because they're going to grow up to be terrorists, or they could become a terrorist anytime, whatever their excuse. They're killing everyone. That is Nazi-style genocide. Now, Democrats love Nazi murder that I just described, and Democrats love the Ku Klux Klan. You know, the Democrats of the South from the times of slavery, they were Democrats. And they still want their Nazi-style behavior. They still want their racism. And the Democrats still support that shit. Senator Byrd was the grand high dragon of the fucking Ku Klux Klan. And as a senator, a U.S. senator, when he died, Hillary Clinton, another Democrat, may as well call her a fucking Nazi, praised Senator Byrd, along with other Democrats. These people, fucks, are murderers of men and women and civilians. They're murderers of babies. And they are haters. They hate the law of freedom. These Democrats hate the law of freedom. They hate the Constitution. They hate Christianity. They hate America. And they hate you. And they hate me. They hate all of us. And we need to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan, folks. I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, for the super chats. Without you guys, it's over. I'll be like everyone else on the internet that just fucking leaves. One day I'm here, the next day I'm just fucking gone. That's happened to not just a couple of dozen, not just hundreds, but there were thousands of information channels, opinion channels, freedom channels, patriot channels that just left. There were legal channels that talked about law and order, legal precedent, how to hold government accountable. All these channels were here, gone, because YouTube removed all commercial advertising. They did. They removed all commercial advertising from us. So there's no one funding us. But you guys, you, and I want to thank you personally, every last fucking one of you, you know who you are, who support this channel through super chats, Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, and private donations. Private donations. There's private donations too. If it were not for you, I'm done. If this channel ever fucking blacks out, it's because we're not being supported. Northern Pike says, illegals travel, we drive. In what the fuck judges fight? Yeah, it's one more fight. It is one more fight. You're not safe in your job. You're not safe in the city. You're not safe on the highway. You're not safe on the road. You're certainly not safe in the custody of the government in front of a court. They'll just throw you in fucking prison, lock the door, throw away the key, ignore your fucking rights, deny you legal representation, deny you a quick and speedy trial, all things constitutional. They just take it from you. That's what they believe. That's what the government wants to do to us. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here talking about it. If it wasn't for Mr. T, we wouldn't have these cool graphics. If it wasn't for Jolene and doing what she does, we wouldn't be here every day. If it wasn't for Uman, who knows where the show would be. In any event, I'm continuing to be able to share my opinion, share the facts and the reality of this world. Not what we want it to be, not what we hope it to be, not that we assume it can be. I share with you what the fuck it is. These are the facts. Democrats are fucking Nazis. Paris is burning to the fucking ground. It's not even legal to be white in the United Kingdom. You can be brutally stabbed to death, but the minority people are getting away with it. A high school valedictorian wants to give a speech, and all they want to do, all this one wants to do, all it wants to do is to speak up and call for assisting oppressed people, and the school shuts down the valedictorian, the smartest kid in the school, undoubtedly smarter than the fucking teachers and the principal. Nope. They just shit all over this fucking girl. That's what they do. That's what they do. One quick second. I'm not going quite yet. Okay, all is good. I want to thank everyone for supporting. Oh, yeah. Folks, get this. Look, there's great people on the planet. I'm going to give you a current example, and I'm going to give you an ancient example. Then I'm going to call it a show, unless another super chat comes through. Now, Bulgaria. We've all heard of Bulgaria. It's kind of like Hungary and Romania and Slovakia, and right. It's one of those little European countries. They're a member of the they're a member of the European Union. They're a member of NATO, which means they're an ally of the United States of America because of their affiliations through NATO and the European Union. They told the American military, get the fuck out of our country. Just get the fuck out. Because Trump treats Bulgaria like they're a fucking enemy and says your citizens have to apply for a travel visa to come into our country, America. But we're going to use your country as a fucking fuel stop and a pit stop and a shit stop with our military. Well, if you treat allies like enemies, then your allies that you treat like enemies are going to treat you like one and fucking kick you the fuck out. Good for Bulgaria and bad on America once again, treating an ally like a second-class citizen. Well, that's kind of how all of our other allies treat people, do they not? Whether I'm talking about Britain, or France or Spain or Israel or any other country. They all treat each other like shit. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of quotes from Voltaire. Voltaire, Voltaire, who was a great philosopher who lived 300 years ago to about 250 years ago. He died shortly after the American Revolution and the Constitution. And here's his two quoted phrases. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. That was his belief in free speech, folks. This is when only the United States of America had a freedom of speech clause, the First Amendment. And like I said, shortly after that was written and put into our Constitution, Voltaire died. But he went to his death believing that he can disapprove of what someone else says, but he will defend to the death the right to say it, meaning the right to free speech is paramount. It's at the top. His second quote is this: those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Pretty nasty, is it not? Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. So let's just say, if Europe and our government and the mainstream media can make you believe that Russia is the bad guy, that's a fucking absurdity, because Nazis were murdering and genociding ethnic Russians in eastern Ukraine. But if they make you believe that didn't happen, then the same people can make you believe and commit atrocities. That is to say, justify murder, mass murder, etc. So let me give you another absurdity. Every single person in Gaza was a terrorist. That's fucking absurd. But people believed it. So they're willing to allow the atrocities that have been committed by Israel. But when you think about it, it's rather absurd to say every man, woman, and child was a terrorist and deserving of death. That is an absurdity that resulted in an atrocity that's now being committed in Lebanon against Christians and non-Gazans and non-Hamas and non-Hezbollah. But it's an absurdity, and an atrocity is following it. And the United States government is allowing it. And it is absolutely filthy as fuck. Chance favors the prepared mind.